the year, Chicago. My name is Nick Brody. I am joined alongside my co-host and good friend, London Beth. And happy hump day. We are 4 days away from kickoff for the Bears against the LA Rams on Sunday Night Football. Today, we are bringing you all the updates on Chicago Bears news, and we are evaluating today's theme of who our 3 breakout players of the year are going to be for the Chicago Bears. But before we dive into it, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray. Tired of your pizza toppings sliding, office coffee distracting you while driving, grease and other stains getting on your seat, or you're just enjoying a game on the couch and don't want to lean over? Look no further than the Stupid Car Tray. Proudly USA made, Stupid Car Tray makes your passenger seat or couch a level surface for all transportation and couch potato needs. Visit www.stupidcartray.com and use discount code J16 to get 16% off your entire order. Link in the description.
Listen, Nick, Stupid Car Tray saved the day. And I'm excited this weekend. I've actually already tested it out with a Michelob Ultra. I put it on the couch. I stick my Michelob Ultra in there. I stick my phone in there. I got all my stuff for fantasy football. I'm ready to go. So go get a Stupid Car Tray if you're going to be sitting on the couch like me, drinking beer, watching some fantasy sports. But make sure to use code JAY16 at checkout to get 16% off your entire order. Nick, let's get into it. It's Bears week, baby.
It's regular season Bears week. It's not just Bears week. This counts. This counts. We're one step closer to it counting. Who knows what the season's going to bring, but let's jump into quick news real fast in regards to that. Eddie Goldman is out again. The reasoning is unknown. They're not sure if it's an injury reason, a personal reason. Bears Twitter has been wondering about it. Even Brad Briggs has no idea what's going on. So we have been trying to figure that out. We will give you updates on our Just Another Year Twitter or our personal Twitter accounts when we find out as well. And then in regards to that, the Bears have released defensive tackle Ozuya Alufahai and running back Artavius Pierce from the practice squad team and signed defensive tackle Margus Hunt and nose tackle Damian Square have been signed to the practice squad. They are saying that this is a move due to the Eddie Goldman situation, but they still are not giving the extent of the situation. So more to come on that. But welcome to the Chicago Bears and best of luck to the 2 guys that were released. Jimmy Graham restructured his contract, converted $5.825 million of his $10 million contract into a signing bonus, creating $4.66 million in cap. Could this be another move coming? We don't know yet, or a potential contract signing. Stay tuned for that. The Bears have waived inside linebacker Josh Woods, and he has cleared waivers. This move was done to create space for new wide receiver Rashad Perriman. And then Kendall Vildor will be the starting cornerback alongside Jalen Johnson week 1 against the LA Rams. This could quickly change if Kendall Vildor struggles, so more to come on that. But here's something, London, that I really want to hit on quickly in Bears news before we go to our breakout players, is Mike Greenberg of ESPN says that if Andy Dalton struggles in the first couple weeks or gets injured, Nick Foles should go in first over Justin Fields. London, initial reaction.
ESPN has lost their mind. First and foremost, I mean, I think ESPN has been on the downhill since places like Fox Sports have got like some of their best talent, and other places have really been on the come up. So listen, Mike Greenberg. Okay, let's talk here for a bit, bud. All right. Nick Foles over Justin Fields. I'm on the train of waiting a couple weeks, letting Justin Fields, starting Andy Dalton. I think he's the right move. I'm on that train. But if Andy Dalton, hypothetically, knock on wood, gets injured and we have to put in another quarterback, it better be Justin Fields. We know what we're getting out of Nick Foles, and he does not fit the system that Matt Nagy runs, period.
I 100% agree. I am happy you said that. And just so you know, London has just less any credibility if ESPN were to ever give him a job offer. So you shot yourself in the foot there. No comment in regards to that. So ESPN cannot use it against me. But I agree. Mike Greenberg is nuts for that comment. That was a total clickbait move, in my opinion. No, Fields should go in. It's a sign for him to go in. I am still for Andy Dalton starting week 1. You're for Andy Dalton starting week 1. Trust the process, but for the love of God, whatever you want to say, Mike Greenberg, that was a very bad take. There's been a lot of bad takes lately, but that was a very bad one. So, London, let's go into our break. That's news for the Chicago Bears. Let's go into our breakout players of this year. Disclaimer, neither London or I use Justin Fields. That's just unfair. That's too obvious. Let's get into guys who are actually going to play right away, who are going to make an impact. And I'll start things off. My first guy is Cole Kmet. I think he's going to be a huge key to the Chicago Bears offense moving forward. This is Jimmy Graham's last year on his contract. Cole Kmet is the future of tight end for the Chicago Bears. He showed a lot of flashes in the second half of the season where he gained most of his stats. Speaking of stats, last year, Kmet had 28 receptions, 243 yards, which averaging 8.7 yards per catch. Pretty darn good. And 2 touchdowns. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. He went to tight end university this offseason, worked with the best of the best, and has been much involved this year with the offense in the preseason, mainly in training camp. As we know, Kmet did not play too much in the preseason. But Kmet is in for a big season. He's a blocking tight end. He's a good run block tight end over passing and run block tight end. He's fast. He's young. He's athletic. Chicago born and raised. Bears are in his blood. I see Kmet having 600 yards this year with 6 touchdowns for the Bears. Nagy loves using tight ends in the red zone, and Jimmy Graham will start to get thinned out this year as he's older, the last year in his contract, but also no one go hating on Jimmy Graham's contract situation. What a move by Ryan Pace to convince him to take a cut or make it a signing bonus. I think that they're going to be a two-headed monster this year, but Kmet is the future, and that progression is going to happen this year. So London, that's my first guy. Any thoughts, any comments in regards to Cole Kmet?
Love Cole Kmet, tight end U. I mean, he comes from the University of Notre Dame, which is absolutely I don't know if you watched that Notre Dame Florida State game, but their tight end they have now is phenomenal. I feel like they just keep producing phenomenal tight ends at that university. And honestly, I hope Cole Kmet's an absolute monster. I mean, he runs through people. He absolutely runs through people.
Absolutely. And he's 23. It's insane. He's young. It's going to be fun. So London, the next guy has broken out before, but has slowed down. Now he's on the way back to breaking out. So who are you choosing, London, as your first guy?
My first breakout player for this coming up season for the Chicago Bears is my favorite player on the defensive side and honestly on the offensive side, and that is Eddie Jackson, safety for the Chicago Bears.
Eddie Jackson plays offense?
No, I'm saying for both positions. He is my favorite player
okay.
overall for the Chicago Bears.
All right, I apologize.
I absolutely love him. And so what I'm saying on this and why I just wanted to dive into the stats like you did a little bit and why I'm saying that he's going to have a breakout season is because of this. 2017, he had 55 solo tackles. He had 1 forced fumble. Let me just think here. And he had 2 interceptions. 2018, which was the big year for the Chicago Bears that we keep hitting on. He had 41 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 6 touchdowns, or 6 interceptions that led to 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was all over the place. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler that year. He was absolutely phenomenal. 2019, 51 tackles. Okay. Which again, a little bit of more of an increase on tackles. He had 5 forced fumbles. 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. Okay. Then 2020, we start to hit a regression, which honestly, you can kind of see the difference of play due to the stats under when Vic Fangio left for this defense. His tackles went up. He went up to 63 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 0 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. He got burned a couple times. I mean, just defensively, they were using him as more of a run stopper and as a tackler last season and not letting him be the ball hawking player he was and is. So why I'm saying Eddie Jackson is going to be my breakout player, my number one guy is this. He went on to an episode. With GNS Sports TV, and he talked about this, Nick. He said the Bears took a chance on me. He was an injured player coming out of the University of Alabama. He slipped really, really heavily down in the draft. We ended up picking him up. And he thinks that, we deserve the best version of himself. I absolutely love that. Next thing he said, I'm expecting to be an all-pro Pro Bowler again this season. I love this. And this is why he's my breakout player. Just like, I always talk about with Matt Nagy and other players, when you put all your eggs in your basket, you're betting on yourself after getting a brand new contract and it wants to come out and be that dominant safety in the NFL again. I love that. I think he's going to have a great season. I'm going with 60 total tackles, solo tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and I'm going 4 picks and 1 touchdown this season for Eddie Jackson. He's going to be a Pro Bowler again. We're back, baby.
Eddie Jackson's back. Bo Jack is back. I love it. I couldn't agree more. I think Eddie Jackson.
New number, new man.
New number, new man. I like the single digit. A lot of people were upset because, oh, my 39 jersey isn't the thing. No, you're OG Eddie Jackson. But the new revamped, the second coming of Eddie Jackson is back, and that's in 2021 for him. So I know you're staying on the defensive side of the ball for breakout player number 2, and we kind of mentioned him before, but I want you to get more into him.
Yeah, so Kendall Villadore is my second breakout player. Now, listen, Nick, I know we talked about it before. I know this has been a huge topic ever since King Pace came out and said that he thinks that Kendall Vildor is going to be the second corner on the depth chart, that he's having a great mini camps and all that kind of stuff. He struggled through training camp. He struggled through preseason. Okay. We were all very, very aware of that. The one thing I do just want to hit on just before I go into a little bit about Kendall Vildor and why I think he's going to be a breakout player is this. He still got the nod over Desmond Trufant, over Duke Shelley, over Artie Burns to be that second QB2. I think that they see something.
CB2.
Yeah, or CB2. Sorry. I think that they see something, especially Coach Desai sees something in Vildor that we have not seen. We don't see everything from practice. We don't watch all the tape like they do. I think they see something in him that we just aren't doing. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I've still been a Vildor guy since way back when we did our, training camp video, and I'm still sticking, and I'm going to ride or die with him. I'm so excited that he's our CB2. Big reason why I think he's going to have a breakout season is coming out of the Sun Belt Conference. Okay. He was selected as of the first team CB out of there. He had 4.5 tackles for losses. He had 4 interceptions, 11 breakups. I mean, he just had an absolutely phenomenal junior year, which actually put him in contention to even be looked at to be drafted. Okay. That was the biggest thing. Now, some of the knocks on him and the things that we're kind of seeing is, of course, he's smaller. He's a little slender. His speed is average and all that kind of stuff like that. But the big thing that everyone loves about him is he can understand and diagnose. And me being a wide receiver, for in college football, I totally understand this, and this annoys the crap out of me. He understands route concepts for players and can keep up with them. He doesn't let anybody get away from him. We saw that a little bit when, instead of having Buster Screen on a guy like Davante Adams, where every single time I remember calling Tony and being like, oh man, if Buster Screen burns us, just kills us here because Davante Adams takes him to the house, I'm going to lose my mind. It happened all season last season when Kendall Vildor came in due to injury. That did not happen. He had a great year. He kept players like the likes of Davante Adams in front of him, and that's such a big thing. I think tackling is going to be a little bit of an issue because he is smaller, but I expect him going forward for this season. I expect 26 tackles. Okay. I expect 2 interceptions, and I expect 3 tackles for losses. I think he's going to stick his nose in there. I think he's going to be an absolute dog. And I think that, King Pace, Coach Desai, and everybody else, the Chicago Bears organization, is giving this guy from the Sun Belt Conference a shot to be a starting cornerback in the NFL. You better take that opportunity, my friend.
I mean, and think about it. Pace has drafted a lot of guys from unknown or not popular conferences. Not unknown's the wrong word. Unpopular college conferences, and look how they turned out. So I totally agree. And he kind of does have that Bryce Callahan swagger. I know we've hit on Bryce Callahan potentially coming back to the Chicago Bears, but they might look at him and be like, hey, we got a guy just like him. We don't need to give up anything. We don't need to take on a bigger contract. Kendall Vildor can do that. So best of luck to him. I think that he is going to bounce back. Again, it's preseason, folks. It's okay if he struggles a little bit because you're getting those kinks out and you're getting the rust off.
Out now. Get them all
out now. Against the Rams, he could have the biggest game ever, and everyone be like, guys, he's fine. He's all good. So absolutely, I totally agree with that. My second player, staying on the I'm going to stay on the offensive side of the ball. Damien Williams signed a $1.5 million contract this past season with the Chicago Bears. He's a filler for Tariq Cohen. And while he's on the physically unable to perform list, had a very strong offseason and preseason for the Chicago Bears. His side speed and toughness fits Matt Nagy's offense very well. And I'm very excited about Damien Williams. Super Bowl champion, so he brings that experience. He knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl. He knows what it takes to go that final step, to be that guy. And he's understanding his role as RB2 behind David Montgomery. So I totally respect that. And also a great mentor for not only Montgomery, but for Khalil Herbert as well. And overall, very strong asset to the team. Last year, he had 111 rushes for 498 yards. So 4.5 yards per carry. That's pretty good with 5 touchdowns. But what's crazy, and especially this is where he goes well into Matt Nagy's offense, he's also a dual threat at running back. He can catch the ball too. 30 receptions for 213 yards, 7.1 yard average and 2 touchdowns. perfect dual threat for Matt Nagy's offense when David Montgomery's got to sit out. And if Tyreek Cohen is out all year, I think that Damien Williams is going to have 125 rushes for 600 yards. So 4.8 yards per carry. I know that's a big number, but he's proven he can do it. I think he's going to have 7 touchdowns, and I think that he's going to double his receptions. He's going to have 60 receptions, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Fantasy owners, you might want to pick up Damien Williams if he has stats like that. All I got to say with that. So going to our breakout player number 3, London. I know you're going to the offensive side of the ball, and I'm pretty excited about this guy too. Who do you have as number 3?
Yeah, Nick. So I'm finally going to go to the offensive side. I've been sticking on the defense a lot. And my guy that I'm taking for my 3rd breakout player, and I think he is the most important offensive player. And I know he is the most important offensive player for this team to be solidified for the future and for this year is Sam Mustipher, our center out of Notre Dame. Listen, we got 2 Notre Dame guys on this list, so kudos to Notre Dame. They've been producing some really, really great players. And the reason why I'm taking Sam Mustipher is this. He's young. He came out of nowhere. He put on great weight. He's 6'2" and now over like 310 to 315 pounds. He put on weight and strength. He's learned behind Cody Whitehair, who was a great center and then moved to guard all over the place on our offensive line, has been a very versatile player. He's learned by him, who he is a top 10 offensive lineman in the NFL. He has now taken the responsibilities at center, letting other players go to the positions that they are better suited at to complete this offensive line. He has a guy like Jason Peters coming on to also help him learn and grow, because Jason Peters is an absolute stud for the Eagles for so many years and will be a stud for the Chicago Bears this season. I expect this guy, due to his experience, his smart, and his agility at center, and literally that offensive line for Notre Dame that he played on in college was one of the best offensive lines probably in the last decade.
I agree.
In college football. Okay. He understands what he needs to do in the run game, especially like you just said with Damien Williams and David Montgomery, to be able to produce those players and get inside and outside zone runs for them. But on top of it, he commands everything. He watches the shifts. He watches where the D line is shifting. He watches where the linebackers are shifting. He is the commander of that offensive line, and I am so excited for him to step up, have a great year. I don't know if I'm going to put him on the Pro Bowl level, just because that would be like, if he does, honestly, I'll go back to this video and I
wouldn't be surprised.
I would be surprised, because I think he has that potential. Okay, but again, he's still super young. What I'm going to say is I think he's going to be an All-Pro though, and I think he's going to be at least a top 7 center in the NFL this season. I think he's going to have a great year. I think he's going to pull I think he's going to take the opportunity, pull like a James Daniels did last year, and just really break out, just absolutely maul people after putting on this weight, getting time in training camp and preseason to play. I mean, he is the future. Him and James Daniels are the future of this offensive line, and they're young, and I'm so very excited for him. And I hope that because if he has a great season, that means our offensive line isn't as bad as everybody's freaking out on Twitter about.
I totally agree. 100%. And I think you hit on a great point that Cody Whitehair, who came to the league as a guard, was able to adapt to the center position and do well there. Go back to guard. Sam Mustipher is helping make the offensive line better as a whole, because Cody Whitehair is a better guard overall.
Yes.
So you're taking that opportunity, making Cody Whitehair better. Cody Whitehair helped make Sam Mustipher better, and he is the future of the offensive line. Totally agree with that. Great pick. In my 3rd player, a lot of people might be shocked by this because I was ripping on him earlier in the preseason and training camp. Trevis Gipson. I know I ripped on him a lot, but he came a very long way since that Miami Dolphins game where he got absolutely torched. He ripped it up against the Bills and the Titans. He gained 15 pounds this offseason. He looks strong. He looks faster. He's from a small college guy. I know Ryan Pace loves his small college guys. He only played 7 games last year with 5 combined tackles, 1 solo, and then 4 assists. That's fine. 5 tackles, I don't care. Make it 50, big man. And why not make it 10 sacks? Just make it fun, because that also opens up the opportunity to potentially trade away Robert Quinn if the opportunity presented itself. So this guy has proven that he can do things. He has proven that he's willing to do what it takes, and he is ready to come back. And that is why he is my 3rd and overall probably favorite comeback and breakout player of the year. So with that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. We will have more news tomorrow on Thursday, September 9th, 2021. And stay tuned. You're going to like tomorrow's episode quite a bit more. So thank you very much and have a great day.